You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and the NFL. Of course, there was a massive blowout yesterday, a massive fallout, as Wristgate was taking full effect and is jumping all over the news sphere right now. You add on top of that a juicy layer of Joe Burrow being out for the year because of, well, that same wrist. A lot of people are asking a lot of questions. Dave Portnoy, of course, came out yesterday. We talked about that. I think it was in jest that he was talking class action lawsuit. But we will certainly get to an article that Mike Florio, who is a lawyer, wrote. And he's talking about the fact that there is real merit to a potential lawsuit here if somebody wants to pursue it. And let's be honest, the NFL's under fire right now because a lot of people, and I do mean a hell of a lot of fans, truly believe the NFL is rigged. And Tony Dungy has come out and made some comments destroying a couple of penalties that were called in that game that certainly makes people wonder what the hell's going on. I mean, we're talking about a game that we thought the big news was going to be, well, just an injured wrist. Okay, Joe Burrow's hurt. Mark Andrews out for the season. That's a massive story that just got sort of blown over, right? So, let's start with Portnoy because he released, and it's a hilarious video. I don't know. Maybe his father is an actual attorney. I don't know. I do believe it is in jest a bit, but I think Portnoy is trying to send a message right now, a no-shit message. Roger Goodell in the NFL, you need to be careful, okay? They're at NFL Commish. He tagged Roger Goodell in this, by the way.
Hi there. My name's Dave Portnoy. My father is attorney, Michael J. Portnoy. Have you lost money betting on the NFL? Did you bet on the Bengals on Monday night against the Ravens, thinking Joe Burrow was healthy, only to find out after the fact that he had a brace on his hand coming out of the bus? It was not listed on the injury report? That is unfair. You're the victim. Here at Portnoy and my dad, Michael J. Portnoy, law firm, we protect grieved gamblers from these atrocities from Roger Goodell and the Cincinnati Bengals. I will be filing a class action lawsuit on behalf of all grieved gamblers. So join me as we fight for the people, for every man, to get rightfully what is ours. The injury report exists for a reason. If you are not on the injury report, that means you are healthy. If you get off the bus wearing a brace around your hand, that means unhealthy. We expect when we put our hard-earned money to work, we get a fair value, fair shot. Gambling is legal in this country. Who will protect the gamblers? I will, through my dad, Michael J. Portnoy, attorney at law, class action lawsuit. Join me protecting you.
Okay, so obviously that's hilarious. I mean, that's Portnoy being Portnoy, but when you tag the commissioner, and Dave Portnoy hates Roger Goodell with a passion unknown to man. I believe it was Barstool that released the clown Roger Goodell shirt back in the day after Goodell went after the Patriots. And, of course, Portnoy came out and he put out this tweet yesterday that we talked about in that video. Let me stop whatever video that is. He's filing a class action lawsuit against the Bengals and the NFL for lying about the injury report. There is no shot I put $100K on a game if he thinks Joe Burrow is injured going into the game. Well, let's be real. In common sense, nobody would. Nobody would. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but it's gambling and this and that and the other. Look, gambling's legal. So if it's going to be allowed, it needs to be done by the letter of the law, or they shouldn't allow it and it shouldn't be legal. You can argue that as a side note all day long. But yeah, this is an issue. And Florio just come right out and said it late last night. Civil lawsuits would be easy to file against the Bengals and the NFL over Joe Burrow's injury. Now, I'll give Florio credit for one thing. Me and him don't see eye to eye on a lot of social issues. But when it comes to hanging the NFL, Florio is not scared of them at all. He routinely pisses off Roger Goodell and the guys up in New York in that office. There are many reasons to believe the NFL will not find the Bengals concealed a pre-existing condition to quarterback Joe Burrow. Well, that sounds like Florio coming out and saying the NFL is going to hide this if the Bengals hid the injury. Like the NFL is not going to be willing to make this public because it's going to open themselves up to a potential lawsuit. Beyond the PR ramifications of admitting to the world that one of the league's 32 franchises was playing fast and loose with injury reporting rules, it would be very easy for anyone who relied on Burrow's absence from the report in placing a wager on the Bengals to use the outcome of the league's investigation as fuel for a fraud lawsuit. Yes, fraud. For the Bengals, the purpose would have been to conceal Burrow's injury from the Ravens or anyone else. The impact on gamblers would be to keep them from realizing that Burrow might not have played at a high level or might not have finished the game. The argument within context of a civil lawsuit, again, he's a lawyer, would be that those who bet on the Bengals to win money on a line wager or to cover the 3.5-point spread relied on the absence of Burrow's injury report in believing that the Bengals would and or win and or cover. More specifically, they would not have bet on the Bengals to win and or cover if the truth would have been known. It's possible that a class action could be pursued with everyone in a given state or nationally. Guys, something that potentially would cost the NFL billions of dollars. I told John Matrix yesterday, I said, this will make CTE and concussions be, I'm telling you, there would be so many gamblers in on this class action lawsuit, it could cost the NFL $10 billion. A franchise and a half worth of money out of the NFL's pocket. Who placed a bet on the Bengals looking to get a refund from the Bengals for hiding the injury. The NFL could be included in litigation as well based on the potential argument that the league negligently failed to enforce its own rules regarding the injury reports, emboldening teams like the Bengals to keep Burrow's injury hidden. While the NFL and its team should worry about the possibility that Congress could explore the integrity of sports wagering and or a prosecutor could examine the possibility of criminal charges, it only takes on disgruntled gambler and one motivated lawyer to launch a class action lawsuit in any state where gambling is legal, or in every state where gambling is legal. Complain about the civil justice system if you want, but it's a mechanism for forcing change, for holding the responsible to account for turning a wrong into a right. So, that's interesting. He calls into question, why was the video deleted of Joe Burrow? Get a truthful answer to that, and you potentially have fuel for a massive lawsuit against the Bengals and the NFL. The simple reality is a lawsuit might be the only way to get a truthful answer to that question. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. And then you've got Tony Dungy, one Hall of Fame coach from the Colts. And Dungy is now calling out the officiating, with everybody has an issue with to begin with, and has long since fueled the NFL as scripted/rigged crowd. Dungy wrote in a post on X that officials would be the topic of conversation if Joe Burrow and Mark Andrews did not have devastating injuries. Specifically, he was upset about a penalty called on Bengals cornerback DJ Turner II and wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. Quote, if not for the unfortunate injuries to Mark Andrews and Joe Burrow last night, everyone would be talking about the officiating. Missing a foul is one thing. You can't see everything that happens, he wrote. But calling things that aren't there, oh crap. Phantom calls were a problem both ways. Between the Ravens and Bengals, 18 penalties were called. Each team suffered 9 penalties. Cincinnati for 78 yards, Baltimore for 110. The Ravens overcame the penalties to win the game 34-20. Goes on to talk about a Bengals player being very upset and him just basically telling everybody, hey, you got to be focused. Don't worry about those shitty calls. Dungy has gone after the officials before. In 2019, he took issue with the rule allowing coaches to challenge pass interference calls. Please, the NFL, do us a favor. Don't let coaches challenge any more pass interference calls. Dungy posted along with a photo from the Giants-Cowboys game on a Monday night. You're causing teams to lose timeouts, making your officiating department look inept, and making us fans feel stupid. Like we don't know the meaning of clear and obvious and significant. And of course, that decision to allow people to challenge that was removed because it was raising a hell of a lot of questions. I don't like the fact that it's a spot penalty anyway, and we could get in a whole conversation about that because there's just too many teams just saying, bleep it, let me just throw it up into tight coverage. Guy makes a play. Oh, let's call it. All of a sudden, a team's down the field. They kick a field goal, win the ball game. I hate that. I hate it. It gives incentive to just start chunking balls up. Now, you could go the college route, make it a 15-yard penalty. I'd be fine with that. It's a 15-yard penalty is massive. It's huge. But, in some cases, these are 50 yards. And it's like, okay, I just watched a great football game, and you guys made it a joke in the last minute. Not to mention, it brings into speculations things like, is the NFL rigged? It's just a bad look. This is getting interesting, folks. Real interesting, because Florio is saying there may very well and easily be a class action lawsuit against the NFL. And who knows? I would assume that Portnoy is kidding. Assuming he's kidding. But you don't know that. They may be gauging a response to how many gamblers step up to the plate. I mean, Portnoy may look up and have 500 people that step up. Or 2,000 that step up and are like, yeah, I lost money and I never would have made this bet had I known Joe Burrow was injured. I mean, who in their right mind would? Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.